We have Sara Carter telling us in a report she's just put out about a huge battle that's going on behind the scenes as it relates to the release of the documents that we have, or Congress officially has been now requesting for well over a year. And, of course, the obstructing, the slow walking, the redactions in the name of national security that turn out to be false, and everything else. And she joins us now, Sara Carter, investigative reporter, also Greg Jarrett, Fox News legal analyst. His book is out next month. You don't want to miss this book, The Russian Hoax, The Illicit Scheme to Clear Hillary Clinton and Frame Donald Trump. It's up on Hannity.com. David Schoen, civil liberty and criminal attorney, is with us. Sara, let's first go to your breaking news, and because there's a lot to basically unpeel as it relates to the onion today in the battle that's going on between the DOJ and Congress.
Yes, boy, has there been a battle going on even, all week and even since last month for these specific documents being requested by the House Intelligence Committee, Sean. They are asking for specific documents of a classified nature. They asked for them on April 24th, but remember, these are part of the documents that they have been asking for more than a year, and the DOJ is refusing over and over to give them to the members of Congress, specifically to the people conducting the investigation into the alleged Russia-Trump collusion and how the FBI handled this from the very beginning. What we know now is that the DOJ made a commitment to deliver those documents to Congress by this morning.
Like by very early this morning, like 7 or 8 o'clock, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. So congressional members were waiting on these documents, but what happened was late last night, after midnight, the Department of Justice sends out basically a press release to specific reporters, not to all reporters, sends out a press release after midnight stating that they will not be meeting with the congressional members or turning over any documents until next week. And they even had other stipulations in there. They said they were going to give them only to the gang of 8 members. And remember, those are the 8 leaders in Congress that are briefed on classified material and intelligence matters. And not only that, they are not really making the commitment to provide all the documents. They're only going to provide some of those documents, and many lawmakers are highly suspicious right now. They believe that these documents will be highly redacted and that they'll have to go into a battle next week. And what's next week? Why did Korea summit?
Okay, now I was saying that all week long, that they were going to try and bury the IG report, which may even happen. I mean, if it comes out between now and any time next week, as far as I'm concerned, it's an effort to bury the 18-month IG report. Now, I did talk to sources over at the Department of Justice today. They said the IG is responsible solely for the timing. That's not what I had understood before. Who's right?
This is going to be interesting. He may be responsible solely for the timing, but he's also under an extreme amount of pressure from people that are reviewing these documents, that being the FBI and the Department of Justice officials, particularly Rod Rosenstein. And remember, the people that are now being represented by attorneys who are in the report that Horowitz is going to release. That's Comey, McCabe, Peter Strzok, and others that are going to be in this report, possibly other members of the DOJ like Bruce Orr, Loretta Lynch. So he is under an enormous amount of pressure by these people. I believe that Horowitz will do the right thing, but we don't know. We really
Well, let me bring Greg Jarrett in, and this has been our fear. They've had it now for 2 weeks. This has been 18 months in the making, and they have an opportunity now to offer, suggest, pressure the IG to make changes, redactions, add their comments, which they're allowed to do. And I will tell you, it's not, Rod Rosenstein's name on this. It's Michael Horowitz, and I will hold Michael Horowitz responsible because we know what happened here. We know that Hillary violated the law as it relates to the email server. We know she obstructed justice. It's so laughable, all the coverage about me today. Hannity's encouraging obstruction of justice at Mueller probe. I said, if I advise people to do what Hillary did. And I'm like, it's not going to work out well for you, only for Clinton, because we have a dual justice system.
Well, you're absolutely right. It's obstruction of justice to destroy evidence or alter documents unless you're Hillary Clinton, then it's okay. Because it's a two-tiered standard of justice system in America. She was protected to clear her path to the presidency. At the same time, there was an effort within the Obama administration, top officials at the FBI and others at the DOJ, who, set up Donald Trump with phony evidence, largely initially based on the dossier, to try to frame him for crimes he didn't commit. Collusion, which doesn't exist except in antitrust law. But what's going on Capitol Hill here is that this is obstruction of Congress, and they should pursue it as such.
Let me bring in another attorney, and David Schoen, you're a great attorney. You understand these issues. Congress has now begged and pleaded and been hemming and hawing, et cetera, but they're not listening. They're doing what they want. What should Congress do now? What legal recourse do they have to do what is their constitutional duty and their constitutional authority as it relates to oversight?
Their power of contempt. It's just about the only tool at this point, I suppose. I'm not confident that they will ever get the full set of documents, quite frankly, based on what we've seen from the Justice Department. Not just a slow motion game, but withholding of evidence, frankly, and providing misleading evidence, as we saw with the FISA applications. Very serious settings. We've seen conduct that does not befit our government.
I mean, it's so outrageous. Now, here I've spoken to a lot of my sources today, and I know you've been working the phone since 7 a.m., Sarah, because I was up, and I think I got my first text from you at 7 o'clock. And now it raises the question, what's Paul Ryan's role in this? What is Trey Gowdy's role in all of this, especially after both of them, sort of poo-pooed the idea of their spies in the Trump campaign? That's not true. What they said, there were spies, in other words.
No, it's absolutely not true, and it's very interesting because neither Ryan nor Gowdy has seen the documents. I know that the DOJ basically on the meeting on May 24th when they were attending, both Nunes and Gowdy, that meeting with FBI Christopher Wray and some DOJ officials, they did bring documents into that meeting. They pleaded with the members that were in that meeting to not talk about those documents, to not tell anyone that those documents were at the meeting. But by the way, none of them did see those documents because there was such a back and forth battle inside that meeting between the members and the DOJ that nobody had an opportunity to actually view the documents. They picked up the documents and walked away. They basically said, only you can see these. We don't want to allow any other members to see them, and particularly no investigators involved in the investigation. So that's very interesting because those are the people that would know what to look for. Those are the people that would understand the documents the most. So they walked away from that meeting without seeing the documents. Now, the DOJ then came out with this press release after midnight last night, and they themselves outed that they had brought documents to the meeting. And this is after they had pleaded.
Wait a minute. I heard what happened in that meeting. There was a huge fight that went on for like an hour, and then there was a briefing that went on for another hour, and I don't think anybody, as far as they know, were told those specific documents were there.
That's right. The documents were there, but nobody was actually told that those were the specific documents. You're absolutely right about that. But because there was that battle, there was that fight, the same thing you heard, I heard, because there was that fight and they didn't agree to who could see the documents, that means extended beyond Gowdy and Nunes and the other folks that were in that meeting, they walked away from that meeting with nothing. So now the DOJ is turning around and saying, oh, look, we gave you the opportunity to look at those documents, and you guys never took the opportunity to look at them. But they're not telling the American public the whole truth. And this is how they obfuscate. This is how they delay tactics. This is how they stonewall. And now they're going to do it again. So next week, when are they going to do it? Monday or Tuesday. Remember, the North Korea summit opens on Tuesday. So if they do it on Tuesday, they're hoping to bury it. And once again, lawmakers are really suspicious, Sean. They really believe that these documents are going to be redacted and that they're going to have to fight with them again in order to get the right people to see them. The Gang of Eight, once they show these documents to the Gang of Eight, it will restrict the Gang of Eight.
All right, I got to take a break. We'll come back. We'll get legal analysis to Sarah's comments and her reporting today. More with David Schoen, Greg Jarrett, Sarah Carter. All right, as we continue, investigative reporter Sara Carter, also criminal defense civil liberties attorney David Schoen, Greg Jarrett. His book is out in July, The Russian Hoax, the illicit scheme to clear Hillary Clinton and frame Donald Trump. We just were talking about the role of Gowdy and Ryan and, you know, the fact that DOJ says, well, the documents were there, Greg. And meanwhile, the people in the room are telling me they never pointed to those documents.
This is just a pattern of cover-ups by the DOJ and the FBI that has been going on for years because they believe that since they are the law, they are above the law and are accountable to nobody, including Congress. I'll give you an example of it. A couple of days ago, the most recently released text messages between Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, they admit in one text that they are deliberately withholding from Congress several, quote-unquote, inflammatory 302 reports in the Clinton email case. Inflammatory, by the way, means incriminating. It's a code name.
I've got
and then Strzok sends the text, F them, referring to Congress. They think they don't have to answer to
That's
anyone.
true. That's such a good point. And David will give you the last word.
Fine. Summing up, I'm very worried about Mr. Gowdy, his comments. He's the same person who said, don't act guilty by questioning the Mueller thing. No spy in the camp. They keep on saying this isn't a spy in the camp. This is spy in the camp. This is exactly what the case law, Messiah, Weatherford versus Bursey, it's just putting someone in who's reporting on what's happening in a campaign. That's spy in the camp. Final point. Sara said the American people, we don't know what the American people are going to be told. That's the key. No one can have any confidence in what's going on here because, especially when they say it was appropriate to send the FBI in. You had a cabal of three or four people in the Justice Department who decided not to consult with their superiors, who decided to send a spy into the opposing candidate's election campaign, and you have a committee appointed by Mr. Mueller of people, all of whom have the same agenda, a political agenda that has handcuffed the country.
I want to thank you all for being with us. Greg Jarrett, Sara Carter, David